Hello and welcome back to Leeds United, where the game says we're on the verge of getting out of the group stages, so fingers crossed that's actually the case. I've played through from our opening group stage fixture with Hadjuk Split that you saw last time. We then properly beat Crystal Palace, Brighton on penalties, Fulham and OFI in the next game, and then went on a 5-game winless streak. Kind of felt at that point we were very much an all-or-nothing team, although the 4-1 loss to Bournemouth was the final straw for me with that particular formation. I should say, we did lose to Arsenal by way of the most stupid goal I've seen in this match engine. I was about to punch something. The ball deflected to an Arsenal player 4 times in the build-up to that goal. 4! But we switched formation for the second Bournemouth game in the space of 3 days, 4 days, whatever it was, and we promptly won 2-0, then beat Maccabi Haifa 5-0, who we only drew with 1-1 away, then beat Leicester, and then drew West Ham, who equalised in the 93rd minute. Somewhat annoying, but we'll take a point. And there's one name that's popped up a few times in this stretch here, and that is Marko Milovanovic. The name I love to say, and I'm going to hopefully say again, because he's scoring a fair bit. Only says 2 and 5 there, but it is 8 in 6 starts. His league average is 5 substitute appearances, and he has an average of 8.05 because he scored twice off the bench. Meanwhile, he started basically every single continental game and scored 6 goals and got 7.73 in those, so he's doing all right. These would be those 2 league goals that he scored in the 90th minute. Admittedly, yeah, 90th minute winner against Leicester, 93rd minute conceder against West Ham, so, swings and roundabouts. But Milovanovic off the bench in that West Ham game got the assist for the Pedro goal and scored to get the lead, which was then promptly wasted. Now, of course, at this point you're wondering, what did I change to? Well, basically I went, how do I make last year's formation a 5 at the back, or 3 at the back? This is how, and it's working the way I wanted our team to play. Why are we all on light match loads? It's only been 4 days since the West Ham, 5 days since the West Ham. We played Newcastle on the Saturday. I don't know who scheduled this. It's Thursday, Saturday. By law, it's basically Thursday, Sunday. I don't know how we've ended up with a Saturday game. But yeah, this is where we are with this team. It also allows Sinistera to play a little bit more. Jack Harrison, not so much. And because this is the game that could seal our progression out of the group stages, I am going to be going full strength defence and not even putting Galini in goal. The rest, however, I'm basically happy to leave, said Marko Milovanovic, will go in the attacking forward role, I think. I forget there's 3 extra subs. Booman, Harrison, Pavlovic. There we go. Before we actually go into that, Mele, Ndicka, Strike, Satale, Planot, Christensen, Rocker, Almada, Bamford, Milovanovic, Sinistera. The one saving grace is Newcastle have some form of European football as well. I think they got in the Champions League and are now doing absolutely woefully in the league to the point where they've sacked Eddie Howe. Yep. Game still hasn't managed to negotiate the fact that some teams might not be actually awful if they have European football. They line up with a 4-3-2-1. We are in Greece for this one, in Crete. Nice, lovely little holiday for me. Hopefully I've got a day. I was about to say hopefully I've got a day either side, but no, I've got to be ready for Newcastle in 2 days, so no, I won't have one afterwards at least. So I think the point is, you can see our group above my head when there's not a highlight. I think the point is, though, if we beat OFI, then we cannot go behind OFI, and OFI cannot be any higher than second. So whether they get usurped or not, that's nearly a wonderful goal by Sinistera. Bamford with a rebound, that's a goal. I think that's effectively the point here. So if we win this, and the replays are still inverting the camera, I do not know why. But Sinistera, lovely, take that really, and Bamford's there to capitalise. But I do need to talk about this woeful match engine a little bit more, because this is effectively, I just realised Shamrock Rovers won away from home. Good work from them. It's a little annoying that the solution to my problem was to go 3 up front again, because that was how we solved the problem in last year's match engine. So it's kind of annoying. Similar issues are still happening. Defenders still can't defend. So the way I'm deciding to solve this is to just opt for the approach of we'll just try and score more than you. Guerrero just walks through that one defender, and those three of them right there, not picking up one man. Step up. They're hoofing it up, and Dicker's under it. Sinistera's not under that though, so that's a shame. And that player has got beyond Christensen again, and somehow has managed to turn and completely throw Christensen off in the process. I feel like defenders have the turning circles of small lorries. Hadjuk Split beating Maccabi Haifa would also see us through at this stage as well, which is what's happening. Christensen, we could even lose this one as long as Hadjuk Split win their game, I think. Plattenart puts the ball in, maybe? Not quite. Rocker's there on the edge. That's come off Bamford and counted. I believe Rocker's got that owed everything to Rocker's assist. I think you'll find that was a shot. Everything is owed to Plattenhart's assist, which I'm going to give him to in spirit, but the game won't register it. Somehow deflected inwards off Bamford's head. Not sure how that one's worked out, but Başakşehir lost to wherever that team's from. I mean, I'm glad I went slightly strong here, but I recognise John Terrell, because he's been about the English leagues a bit. I also recognise Kenny Lala, a right back for them, of course, as well. That's a relatively notable name. Before we played this game, I was trying to work out where I'd seen their striker before. I've just got a weird feeling I've acquired him in like an off-camera save at some point. Is that a penalty to? It's a penalty to us. I wasn't sure which way around that corner was, if I'm completely honest. Bamford's hat-trick, 9th goal of the season, we'll take. Unbelievably, by the way, it was the reverse fixture of this game, was my first hat-trick of this FM. It took me a season and a bit to get one hat-trick from anyone. Interestingly, I'm now interrupting a highlight. Marvin, tired, 6.5. Skov, on. Christensen, aggressive. Livramento, on. Armada, tired. Good job Armada can play Mazzala, by the way. Tyler Adams, on. Bamford, might as well come off. Magno, on. We'll save one substitute in case one of their players kills one of ours. And I've killed that highlight in the process. Skov, Adams, not gone in. I just realised Tatalo is basically on his deathbed. I don't know what's going on there. Why is he so tired? Pavlovic on. These 3 left footers. I don't like it. How are Shamrock Rovers doing in their group as a whole? Oh, they're top of it. Well done. Progression. And you've finally seen us win in an episode. I'll talk a little bit of why I think this formation is working in the next game. I just wanted to show you that it did work first. I want to know who scheduled this, though. Come on. Moyes quits London Stadium Post. Hang on. To become Switzerland manager. It's not the first time he's done something like this in one of our saves. He ended up in Iceland, I think, last year. Why do you keep doing this, David? I should say as well, despite the sort of vaguely sketchy form, we are 7th somehow. There's a bit of a divide from 6th to 7th already, with 5 points between Spurs and ourselves. I'll also say after, I think it was 7 games, Norwich had only lost 1 game. They've now lost 5. It's not gone fantastically well of late. They were in the top 7 after 7 games. Newcastle also hadn't, I don't think, won at that point either. It's been a weird season already. Ivan Toney scored 9 goals. Haaland's not even in the top 3 yet. What is he doing? Haaland has 5 goals. Haaland has 5 goals from an XG of 9.4. What have they done to him this year? I can't even blame this on any potential patches for the release, because I'd started this season before the full release. So whilst Newcastle are already out of their group, they lost to Zagreb. Like, what are you doing? They've lost to Zagreb both times. That's Zagreb's wins. But if they were to somehow win their final game against Juventus, then they'd actually get into the Europa League. But yeah, that's the one saving grace for this Newcastle game, even though we're playing 2 days apart, is they played, admittedly probably on the Wednesday. Well, we are going to have to make a few concessions for this league game, just because some players are tired, but Melee in goal, Strike, Pavlovic, Cresswell will be at the back line. Cresswell got a new 5-year contract, by the way. He will be with us for that time. Skov, Livramento, Adams and Santos will take the midfield roles today. Bamford with Pedro and Milovanovic alongside of him. Both Bamford and Milovanovic seem to be okay, so we'll stick with them. Strike seems to be okay as well, out of the players who did play midweek. I'm just looking at that Newcastle team and trying to see if I recognise anyone. Botman, Target, Willock, Guimaraes. That's it. Oh, Pope's in goal. But Victor Nelson, Kirill, don't know how you pronounce it, the Polish lad. And then the front three of Angel Correa, Luis Alberto, and Danny Olmo, I think it is. They're effectively playing a formation I was tempted to try with striker and 2 attacking midfielders behind him. Then Willock and Guimaraes, I think they're in DM roles because obviously, as is every other player in this year's FM, is in a DM role. Was there a highlight there that looked like a cross and an interception? Livramento in the way of that, and he's kicked it against our own player, but it's worked out. Pedro's on this, and bam. Pedro, whilst not having fantastic ratings, has sort of quietly notched up 7 goals. I mean, we'll watch this fail by Livramento temporarily. There we go, as I think it was Tyler Adams who got in the way. But Pedro with a good goal there. Now, I was about to maybe show you why this works, but annoyingly this highlight's actually a throw-in, so players aren't in the correct places. There's strike at the back post, for instance. That is the second time actually a defender has scored ultimately from a throw-in. Evan Ndicka did it in a game recently. I feel like I've scored more goals indirectly from throw-ins than I have from corners in that fashion. It was Ndicka at the back post, because obviously Strike's playing the left centre-back role today. But this is why this works, and this is why this works when it didn't work with wingers last year in particular as well. It seems to be once again this year that the wide strikers play the way that I would want inverted wingers / inside forwards to play, and that is on these two centre-backs. It seems to be working against three at the back as well in that sense, because you are occupying all three of the centre-backs, whereas using inverted wingers and inside forwards tends to put them more where Livramento is now. So you end up with essentially a loose defender on either side that can do the intercepts. Whereas if you occupy all three defenders, people like Tyler Adams down here end up with a little bit more space. Why this works opposed to two strikers and a shadow striker, not fully certain. But I think it's just the case of the shadow striker doesn't occupy one of the defenders, but by doing this, all three of these are now occupied, and therefore these two players are playing a little bit wider than they may have done as two strikers and a shadow striker, which means they link up better with the wing-backs, as we're hopefully about to see. But Livermento's gone backwards, but they're in a good position to provide the overlap that I was wanting before. Skov's not got that, but it has fallen to João Pedro somehow. He's kicked the post, he's kicked it over. The text said, how did he manage to miss that? I was thinking that too. I'm hoping to see a highlight that properly sort of symbolises this. But Bradley's thrown it to Correa. The one time my defender jumps, and it's when the ball's 30 yards behind him. I should just mention Livramento, who's on a 7.6 in this game. All three of his assists have come since changing this formation. And Platnar, who's on the bench, has 6 assists in all competitions now. He's got 5 in the Continental Games. And bear in mind, I've only played one of those with the old formation. Yeah, Skov still can't get an assist to save his life pretty much, but it's weird that it's landed on those two, who play effectively in alternate games on opposite sides. It's weird that Christensen doesn't do anywhere near as good as Livramento, and it's especially weird that Skov doesn't do anywhere near as well as Platnar in that same situation. That's a fantastic sliding challenge. Good, the game recognised that. Although Strike's going to get himself in a spot of bother here if this isn't cleared well. Never mind, Andres Santos took a marginally heavy touch, and the players were immediately jumped on, as per the usual, in this terrible match engine. Luis Alberto pops the ball in, Melier saves. Thank God. He keeps warning about the gap between our midfield and our forwards, which seems a little weird considering the fact that it's defence, midfield, forwards. It's not like we're playing with 2 DMs. And the 2 midfielders we are playing with are Mazzalas, who naturally kind of roam forward a little bit anyway. Santos, Milovanovic has been injured. That's possibly the worst news, because he is our standout player so far this year. Cresswell, although Bamford's just overtaken him, I think, in goals by getting that hat-trick. Strike, Adams. If Pedro gets on that, please score. Ooh. He's denied a clear goal-scoring opportunity. That might have been a red card regardless of the fact he was already on a yellow. But yeah, Milovanovic is now injured. Sinistero takes that role on that right-hand side. It's nice just to have him involved again. Plan on for Skov. I'm tempted to take Bamford off. I should probably have Espria, not Magna on, just because he's both-footed on the bench. We'll do the 2. It's only 66 minutes on the clock. We'll wait for tiredness to overwhelm a few. Lovely ball to Adams. That's a fantastic first-time pass to Bamford. Pedro's not going to get that in a million years. Target. Boltman, sort of pinching them in a little bit there. Pope. Also, one specific instructional change is the removal of the instruction of stop goalkeeper pressing, or stop stop the short distribution, whatever it's officially called. Because if you allow them to do the short distribution, it means they're not kicking it straight over your defence every time, which, fingers crossed, is going to reduce the amount of times that nonsense happens on a game-by-game basis. Bamford, I need to have a look at corners, because Bamford, since the change in formation, has ended up being the one trying to attack them. He scored one of them, though, so I can't complain. But yeah, taking off the prevent short distribution should, in theory, prevent the number of times it's just hoofed over your defence and your defenders just get to watch it as if it's like a shooting star or something. It's weird how we've actually done less since they've gone down to 10 men. Adams, Gagliardini, Santos, Van den Boomen. Yeah, the switch here doesn't really help the midfielders. And Bamford, Magno, why not? But we've had 19 shots, 7 on target, 2.5 XG. 20 shots now. They're playing Almiron as a pressing forward. As much as he loves to press, bless him, he's not very good in the game. So I can't imagine that's going to go particularly well. Yeah, it's a little weird how that game kind of just neutered itself out when they went down to 10 men. Yeah, when we went to 10 men, we were just obliterated by Aston Villa. I thought they'd hired Lopetegui, or however it's pronounced, the guy who's now gone to Wolves in real life. But they didn't have a manager for that game. Joe Bryan of Fulham has a lower minutes per goal than Cristiano Ronaldo. 2 weeks from Milovanovic. Could be worse. Could be better. Still 7th in the Premier League, of course, off the back of that. And we do play Spurs next, actually, in the league. This now no longer matters, pretty much the last game. Just whether we're first or second in the group. In fact, I don't think we can be second, because we beat OFI. They didn't really announce that after that match, but we are confirmed first. Yes, we are. So yeah, the last Europa, as predicted, the last Europa Conference game doesn't matter at all. So we'll come back in the new year at some point. I see Manchester City and Chelsea back-to-back, which doesn't look fun. Oh, then we play Arsenal and Manchester City at the end of January. What? Who scheduled that? Sorry, can we have a look at January properly again? Manchester City, Chelsea, Manchester United, unknown FA Cup third round still. Brentford away, Bournemouth at home. Okay. Arsenal and Manchester City to finish it off again. Why are we playing Manchester? Why have we bookended January with Manchester City? But anyway, probably the first two of that. As we then prepare for a January transfer window where multiple people are going to be on the chopping block, I feel. But until next time, thank you for joining me. If you've enjoyed this, if you've enjoyed seeing us actually win games, then do drop us a like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, ta-ra.